What's up everybody, welcome to Money Management channel. My name is Andrei and today I'm gonna be doing an update on FRC stock.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed, born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up.
And in today's video, first of all, I will show you where we are on the price chart and how we get there. And I will show you why this asset has this harsh sell-off. Since I made my previous video, this asset lost more than 50% of its value. Then I will continue with the fundamental news and I will show you what should we expect from the fundamental standpoint. And at the end of this video I will share my thoughts and my technical analysis. And I will show you what potential movements we might have in the future. So let's start with the price chart. I made my previous video right here at this point, right after this asset hit around $16 price point, and it lost from its swing high right here. It lost about 25% of its value. At this very point, I've told you that this asset broke its first range of support at roughly $12.5. And this means that most likely we should see the trend continuation. The next range of support, as you can see, I marked by this green bar, and it is the previous all-time low for this asset at roughly $12 mark. And my main assumption was that we cannot see the movement to the upside from this point. We cannot have the V-shaped correction because of the fundamental issues. And if this asset breaks, I've told you that if this asset breaks this range, most likely it will land somewhere at the ranges of about $10 price point. But instead of this, as you can see, this asset had even more dramatic movement to the downside, and it lost, since I made my previous video, again about 57% of its value. So I have to say that this asset, let me show you the bigger picture. Let me switch, no, I don't need to switch it. Let me show you how much of its value this asset lost from its swing high at the very beginning of February. It lost more than 96%, and it is a really dramatic move. And I have to say that the fundamental news behind the scenes are really scary. So let's continue with the fundamental news. If you type in Google search bar FRC stock and switch to news tab folder, you will find a lot of news, and all of them are bearish, and all of them are explaining the situation around this band. Let me show you this. For example, we are on cnbc.com, and this article was published on April 26th, and it's titled "First Republic's Dramatic Slide Continues. Stock falls nearly 30% as bank looks for rescue deal." And let me quote you this. This week's drop for First Republic comes after the San Francisco-based lender late Monday said it lost roughly 40% of its deposits in the first quarter. First Republic was seen by customers and investors alike as a risky bank after collapse last month of Silicon Valley Bank, which had similar financial profile. The steep decline in deposits came despite a group of 11 larger banks infusing $30 billion of deposits into First Republic in an attempt to instill confidence and prevent bank runs from spreading. Advisors to First Republic are trying to convince at least a few of those banks to provide further support by buying some of the First Republic's assets at above market rates, CNBC has learned. Those purchases would result in losses for the other banks, but First Republic's advisors are trying to sell the banks on the idea that letting First Republic fail would be even more expensive if it led to still higher regulatory costs and fees. If First Republic is successful in selling off some of its assets, it will then look to raise equity, according to sources, which would dilute current shareholders. So this means right now this bank has a very harsh problem with the finding of potential buyer of its assets. And that is why it is very scary for existing investors, for existing shareholders. And even if this bank will be saved by someone, probably it might be even US government. And let me remind you that recently, when the Silicon Valley banks collapsed, US government told everybody that they will not allow any more banks to crash And that is why probably we might see the government that might step into this process and save this bank. But even in this case, this asset will have a dilution of existing shareholders. But I have to say that the drop of more than 96% is extremely harsh, and this means I don't think that the potential upcoming dilution, if this asset will be saved by the US government, I don't think that this dilution might harm the shareholders even more. And that is why, as I mentioned in my previous video, this asset becomes very risky, and on the other side it becomes very lucrative in the short and medium term perspective. So, and let's continue with the technical analysis, but before we dive deeper right here, please subscribe to my channel, hit notification bell and hit the like button. This helps me a lot. So guys, let me show you again this latest movement in details, and I have to say that on a 4 hours time frame we have extremely harsh movement to the downside that doesn't have any retracements at all. And we have to see this retracement. But trying to add your long position somewhere here, it is just pure guessing, and it is an attempt to catch a falling knife. And I highly recommend you not to do it without the strict risk to reward policy and without the strict rules where you know for 100% what type of losses you might afford and what type of gains you might have if this situation will be resolved positive. So, and let me show you the daily time frame. Let me show you this. As you can see, it had a very low RSI, and right now, despite the massive movement to the downside for more than 50% in just the last session, it doesn't have a major movement to the downside for RSI, and it is still forming higher lows on RSI and lower lows on the price action. This means this asset is still quite interesting from the technical standpoint because it is forming the bullish divergence, and bullish divergence means that we might see a bounce, at least a bounce to the upside that should unload the movement to the downside. And I have to say that everything depends on the potential deal and potential saver of this bank, and for now it is pure guessing. Will they find this buyer successfully or not? And depending on the results, we might see the next potential movement. So let me show you that if this company will find their buyer, or the US government will help them to stay afloat, definitely we will see the movement to the upside. And this movement, let me show you again, from this top to the current bottom, I have to adjust this tool. And I have to pull this tool as well from the lowest point. This asset might have at least 1000% to the first range of retracement that is pretty much dead cat bounce. And this massive profit might be only in case if they will find the potential buyer to their assets, or if US government will step in and help them to do so. And the next range of resistance is 0.382, which implies even more profit in a short and medium term perspective. So 1600%, it is really mind-blowing. But on the other hand, I highly recommend you not to enter any positions if you cannot afford to lose the entire amount of your money. Because in worst case scenario, this asset and the trades on this asset will be frozen, and you potentially might lose the entire amount of your money, and that is how you have to manage your position. So I think from the technical standpoint that's it for now. If you like my video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel with notification bell, and see you guys and girls next time. Bye!
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gone live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna